Hey, how's it going everyone? Justin again, as always. Thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about which nail gun should you buy, and more specifically, what are some of the other ones that are out there and how do you make that choice? So I'm going to go ahead and roll the camera. I'll show you a handful of nailers that I saw over at Home Depot, and then of course I'll show you the one that I got if you haven't already seen it. I did just get done posting the Desert Patio build project that I just did, Operation Desert Patio, that was posted last week. So this is going to be a video kind of following that one up in case you're out there looking for a nailer and trying to decide which one should you buy. So let's take a look at what they got over at Home Depot. Alright, so taking a look at some of the nailing options that they had here at Home Depot. We got DeWalt, we got Milwaukee. These are the cordless options that they have currently available. Some brad nailers, some finished staplers, things of that nature. Still a little bit on the pricier side, to be honest. I mean, a lot pricier than you would expect from a pneumatic nailer or pneumatic brad nailer or pneumatic framing nailer. But they did have the options, so those of you that do not have an air compressor or want to drag hose throughout a house, maybe the cordless route is the way that you want to go. For me, being a homeowner and just doing this weekend warrior thing, I wanted something a little bit more duty, something that I didn't have to rely on a battery for. And you know what? Going the pneumatic route saved me half the cost. Looking at some of these pneumatic versions that they had, you could save anywhere between 50 and almost 150 bucks depending on the nailer that you have. Some of them have a nice aluminum nail slide. Some of them were made out of plastic. I chose to go with rigid. Obviously, you guys know that I love rigid. I'm going to keep with rigid. That's what I know. That's the brand that I've trusted. They haven't really let me down any. DeWalt looked like a nice option. Not sure about the Makita or Milwaukee, but I hear a lot of guys in construction really like the Makita brand over Milwaukee even. So I thought that was interesting. Porta-cable, not too sure. Didn't see any Cinco. Saw Cinco over at Builder Supply. Now, when I was a framer's helper, I remember using Cinco quite a bit. In fact, they had a large variety of Cinco nailers, brad nailers, and staplers there. But that was up in Oregon. Down here, I haven't really seen Cinco too much, and I'm just wondering if I'm going into the wrong lumber store. But at any rate, being through as many stores as I have, this is the one to go to if you're looking for a nailer. I thought they had a much better selection than Lowe's did. Maybe my Lowe's was just a little bit short-handed on what they offered. I don't know. But I like the selection from Home Depot the best. So that's why I chose to go to Home Depot and take a look at some of the other options out there. As far as a roofing coil nailer, I went ahead and went with rigid as well. You guys already know. That's the way I went. Alright, so lots of nailers to choose from. You got your brad nailers, you got your finished staplers, you got your framing nailers, you got your cordless nailers, and the cordless is going to be like the pneumatic. It has all three variations of whatever it is that you're looking for. The only one that I saw that was in pneumatic that wasn't in cordless was their roofing nailers. So I've got the rigid coil roofing nailer. Picked that up over a year ago, or maybe it's been 2 years now. Loaned it to a friend to do one roof job, and he brought it back. It looked like it was almost 10 years old. That's aside the point. So at any rate, getting back to it, if you guys saw the video, and if you haven't, I'll put a card up here. But I just got done doing Operation Desert Patio using the rigid framing nailer. I think this thing's pretty stout for what it's worth. Look, I don't know a whole bunch about nailers, but I know what they use them on. You know what I'm saying? So I needed to frame a patio. I bought a framing nailer. I know it's got the non-marring, non-scarring tip, and I can take this tip off and I can toenail whatever I want with the claws that it has here. We're going to use it on these two 2x4s in a second. So if you're framing, you might decide to get a framing nailer like that. If you have a piece of trim down at the bottom, like of the floor that runs alongside of the hallway that's coming undone, you might decide to get a little brad nailer or a finish stapler, much like I have here. This rigid finish stapler, 18 gauge, actually helped me to hang this pegboard all along my shop wall, which worked out great for me. And it works great around the house. So if little pieces of trim are coming undone, I don't mind a little tiny staple going in it. It's easy to cover up with a little bit of paint or stucco if you need to or whatever. But we're going to end up using the roofing nailer, the finish stapler, and the framing nailer today on the wood. I'll show you what it does, and you guys make the choice that's right for you. Going and talking about pneumatic versus cordless for a second. Look, I'm sure that the cordless nailers have their time and place, for sure. For me, they don't have any business in my garage, to be honest. I think that if I need a nailer, I'm gonna go pneumatic. That's just me. Pneumatics never failed me as far as the nail's concerned. I don't have to worry about charging anything. I just hook it up to the air and I'm good to go. A lot can be said as far as the 110 volt versus cordless, and another video that we'll get into here in a little bit will be air versus cordless, and we'll talk about that. Not just for automotive use, but for at-home use and even construction use. Now, I'm not a professional contractor. I do have my LLC in roofing. I think it's expiring here in a few months, which I'll have to renew. But how to choose the right nailer for you is going to be based on entirely your situation, what it is that you're planning on using it for. Are you just using it for home use? Are you using it for commercial grade? Are you using it for just a quick little project and then get put away? Look, if you're just going to use it for a quick little project, I would say, unless you're planning on doing similar projects like that, just go rent it. I ended up renting the coil nailer from Rigid at least a dozen or 2 dozen times before I finally decided to buy one. Granted, I had my LLC, but paying the 40 or 50 bucks for the day, that was a no-brainer for me because I didn't want to spend 200 bucks at the time. Especially if it was just a quick little patch job and I could throw them 40 bucks for a half day or a full day or whatever and do what I had to do and move on with my life. But after a dozen times, it was time for me to buy one, so I did it. As far as stuff around the house, I got tired of using a little tic-tac hammer and nail trying to hold everything steady, so I picked up a little finish stapler, which has been phenomenal. For every little tiny thing that I do, it works great. And then just most recently, because I am planning on taking my time with the desert patio, I'm going to be using this quite a bit, so I figured I'll go ahead and pick that up. And should I decide to do add-ons or make the bathroom wider or something like that, I can do that at a later date. Are these all commercial grade? Look, in my opinion, I think Rigid is a very tough product. I wouldn't count them out as far as using them commercially. Those of you that are in construction right now, you might be more drawn to Cinco or possibly Hitachi. I don't know. There's probably a name brand out there that you guys prefer that's not Rigid. For me, it's still a no-brainer. Most of the tools I have are Rigid. I'm just going to keep it Rigid. Lifetime guarantee for whatever that's worth to you. Now, DeBear, everyone knows DeBear. If you haven't, I'll put his link down in the description to the Den of Tools. He said most recently that Rigid is actually starting to kind of fade back on their warranty, and they might turn around and say, oh, that tool was abused or mistreated or what have you, we're not going to warranty it. I don't know how true that is. I've never had an issue to where I had to warranty out anything with Rigid before. I would hope that they don't do that to their customers, but if they do, boo. Boo, Rigid. Make it to where it's lifetime warranty like you said on the package. Alright, that being said, let's go ahead and we'll hook up the finish stapler here, and we'll do a couple of tacks in this wood, and I'll just kind of show you. So it's got 3 different modes. You got the rapid fire and single shot mode. So right now I think I'm on rapid fire, and I believe if I just push the trigger in, I can tap it into the wood. Like so. I'll show you what it looks like. So there's an up close shot. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. You know what I mean? It sets the staple in just fine. I've got no issues or complaints. Now we'll go ahead and we'll hook up the coil nailer for roofing, and we'll just see if my buddy fucked it up. I don't know that he did. It's in single shot mode right now, which means I'll have to press it first and then pull the trigger. And if I wanted it on rapid fire mode, I can do the same exact thing. I can select it over here to the 3 little nails that it shows, pull the trigger and push down. My depth adjustment is right here, so by spinning this little doodad on the side, I can adjust the depth of the nail. first one didn't come out, so I had to do it again. But look, there's your 3 roofing nails. All in all, pretty solid gun. Like I said, I used the crap out of the rigid coil nailer that I rented from Home Depot for well over a year of roofing on my own, and it never failed me. In fact, when I was roofing with my family down the lower desert, that's all we would rent too, is the rigid one. Alright, let's go on to the framing nailer. Now we'll use the, we got the non-marring tip taken off. So first I'm going to just go ahead and do it with the marring tip on, non-marring, okay? If you guys want to see what that looks like, I can do that too. Let me disconnect this real quick. Alright. So then right there is our 3 nails from the rigid framing nailer. Obviously nails are not long enough to go through 2 pieces, which is why I put 2 pieces side by side. Look, overall I'm pretty happy with all 3 of these products. I really am. But let me go ahead and put the non-marring tip on, now that you guys saw that. It is a bit tricky to stab this little guy back on there, but no big deal. So I line up the teeth with where it is that they go. I kind of widen it out a little bit, and then once you kind of get the detents over the nailer, kind of got to push it down and force it into place. It's kind of a pain in the butt, which is why I was really trying to avoid taking it off, to be honest. Alright, once I kind of got it lined up, I just set it on in like so. Now we'll go ahead and we'll hook it back up to the air, and I'll show you what that looks like. And there you go. Phenomenal products. Like I said, these are the 3 nailers that I own. I would never go cordless. Should I say never? I don't feel like I ever would have to go cordless because I have an air compressor and I have had such good luck with the finish stapler, the nailer, and the roofing nailer. Now, that being said, it's not always practical to take an air compressor through the house to hook it up, to use it to do a couple of light trim pieces. So for that, as a homeowner, if you're really dead set on getting one because that's your biggest issue that you run into, look, I think that a cordless brad nailer or brad stapler would work out just fine for you. I think that you can use it, put it in its little case, tuck it under the bed, and don't have to worry about it again. So I think for at-home users, someone that doesn't have access to an air compressor or that's going to be very lightly using it around the house for small things, I think a cordless nailer would work out just fine for you. As far as commercial use or any serious, big projects that you have going on, whether it's in the garage or it's out back or whatever like I've got going on, I think you need to step it up to the pneumatic, hook that compressor up, and just have a ball. That's all I got for this video, guys. Look, I hope it helped some of you guys out. Thanks as always for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. Share if you want to share. And we'll see you next time. Let me know down in the comments what kind of nailers you have. Are you a commercial construction worker? Or are you an independent contractor that does his own generalized construction? If so, what kind of nailers would you recommend to everybody else out there? That's all I got for this video. We'll see you guys next time. Deuces.